Welcome to the Value Driven Brand Podcast, where you'll learn insights on how to communicate with authenticity, deliver genuine value, and create a memorable experience across your entire customer journey, helping your business become the sought-after leader in your industry. I'm your host, Aileen. Now, on to the show. G'day everybody and welcome to the Value Driven Brand with Aileen. That's me. And today I am absolutely delighted to be interviewing one of my greatest friends. She is my twin sister from another mister. It is Aimee Hare, the holistic healing coach.
Hey.
Hello, Aimee. Thank you so much for joining us today. I tell you, it is an absolute privilege to be doing this with you. My first official podcast. You are the first guest for the Value Driven Brand, and I'm really looking forward to having the listeners hear all about what you do in business, about how you deliver your own value driven brand. Now, a little bit of an introduction for those who don't know, where have you been? Number one, but just in case you need a reminder, Aimee is the holistic healing coach. She's based in Queensland, in Townsville, sunny Townsville. And for those who are watching the podcast, you'll notice she looks airy and summery, and I look like I belong in Melbourne. So she's bringing the light with her, but Aimee has been working with all elements of holistic healing and works to live a life of truly balanced peace and happiness. And I have had the pleasure of working with Aimee, and I can absolutely say every time I finish, that is exactly how I feel as well. Aimee has 3 young boys. She is the mother to some beautiful little children, and a couple of them were born with some rare and incurable disease, not some, just one, but that has definitely seen her call hospital home a few more times than most parents would prefer to, and but watching how you deal with that on a day-to-day basis has absolutely taught us as watchers and avid followers what level of resilience and determination it takes for yourself to find peace and happiness in a life that sometimes throws you a few curveballs. So it's always a pleasure to see your little children's faces, who oddly enough, one of them looks remarkably like my child.
Crazy, isn't it?
It's so crazy. I'm really looking forward to meeting you up in the Gold Coast we're heading up to shortly.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
One of the things that Aimee is getting ready to do post-ISO life at the moment is a ladies and singles, 2 separate ones, retreats called Recreate Your Life. And throughout catching up with Aimee, I'm going to ask her a few more tidbits so I know what to get ready for. And on top of that, as always, we are going to talk to Aimee about those tactical tips that she employs in her business to deliver a value-driven brand. So welcome, Aimee Hare.
Having me. I'm very excited about this.
As per usual.
I usually do, I guess, like podcasts or interviews, and I talk very much about, the resilience and the strength and that kind of side of my life of having sick kids, and then how I've been able to turn that around. So it's nice to kind of get down to like bare bones business. So it's going to be fun.
Absolutely. And, a good podcast is a quick podcast sometimes. And compared to some of you might know, on the off season, I do a Twitch stream, and the Twitch stream goes for over an hour and a half. So the difference between that and these podcasts is they're relatively short and sharp, because we know that you guys and gals are busy, and we know that we need to deliver you the best value that we can as quickly as possible. So Aimee, talk to me about what you do in business.
I do a few different things. So I guess, as a whole, I'm very much focused on helping people to change their lives for the better. I see so many people that kind of just exist. They kind of just go from day to day, living in pain, really, in this emotional pain that they don't know how to move on from. So I'm very passionate about teaching people how to find peace and happiness. And it seems so simple, peace and happiness, but so many people don't live a life like that, and it's sad. And I used to be that person. I used to be the person who threw myself a pity party. I used to be the person who moped around and was sad all the time. And it took having a sick baby for me to flip my life around and to kind of say there's more to life than just existing in this strange world of being stressed all the time and being unhappy. And as soon as I started to choose to see things differently, my life started to change. And now I just want to help and empower other people to live life like I do. And it's just having, it all comes from gratitude, really. It's just being grateful for every single challenge that you get thrown, because every challenge is an opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. And when that is certainly a skill that many of us haven't quite learnt to master yet. Some might say that it's, finding the silver lining in a little bit of a shitstorm. But I have definitely been one to find the silver lining in many, many a challenge. However, I think in the last 6 months, I've really, really started to learn how gratitude can reframe the way that you think, feel, and react to those challenges.
Yeah.
So how do you use gratitude to help build that resilience in everything that you do?
It's, I guess, for me, it's putting faith and putting stock in the universe and what it is providing to me. It's being grateful for everything that I've got. We can't be grateful for just the good stuff. We've got to be grateful for the bad stuff as well, because it's the bad stuff or the tricky things, those challenges. There are opportunities to grow. There are opportunities to learn. And if everything was simple and rosy and happy in this la fairy tale, we'd never grow as human beings. We'd never learn anything. So I take every single thing that I get handed as an opportunity to become better and to become stronger. I'm very grateful for everything, the good and the bad. Being able to view it that way and change your perception of the things that you get handed.
So you are a entrepreneur extraordinaire in my eyes. You run a multitude of different facets to business. Explain to me what some of those different businesses look like for you.
Yeah, so I started my first business when I was 20. I was doing some temp work in a real estate, and I had a cleaner give me I was working in property management, and I had a cleaner give me an invoice for a job that I'd sent them out to. And there was 2 people, and they'd been out at this job for 2 hours, and they handed me an invoice for $800. And I looked at it. Yeah.
I'm in the wrong business.
I know.
Push him up.
4 hours worth of work kind of thing for the 2 people. And I was like, I earn less than that a week. How is it that they're earning $800 for, let's say, 4 hours work? And that was it. And I started a cleaning business. And in 18 months, I was turning over $250,000 by myself.
Wow.
Yep. So I would go out. This was pre-kids, mind you, but I would work from like 5:30 in the morning till sometimes 7, 8 o'clock at night. I would work 7 days straight. And I just, my dad had a fruit and veggie business. So I've kind of been around business my whole life. My brother has a business. My sister has a business. And my dad said something to me when I first started. He said, kiddo, bite off more than you can chew and chew like buggery.
I love that.
I burnt out,
Mm.
as you do.
Yeah.
But I sold the business, and thankfully I sold it when I did, because I was pregnant with my first son. So I sold the business when I was, I think, 18 weeks pregnant.
Mm. Good
And it was
timing.
wonderful. Yeah, it was perfect timing, because I had this money then to kind of enjoy pregnancy and to enjoy my first kind of 12 months with my son at home.
Mm.
But it didn't take me long to realize that I was bored and that I liked working. So I started an events business, and it went really well initially, but there was something going on with me that wasn't going well. And it turned out that it was my relationship. And so, yeah, so I described to people that it was like a metaphorical brick wall, and I just kept hitting my head against this brick wall going, why can't I break through? I didn't know at the time it was my relationship. So, you know, I tried and tried and tried and tried and got nowhere. And it wasn't until after I had my second son. So when my second son was around 1, I realized that it was the relationship that was holding me back. It was so toxic. It was incredibly volatile. It was so negative, and him and I were surrounded with so many negative influences, and it was killing my soul.
Yeah.
And when I left him, it was like the door opened, and I was like, oh, okay, we can go back into, I started another cleaning business with a friend. And it kind of did all right for a while, but it just wasn't, I didn't understand what purpose was. I didn't understand what value or passion or, you know, anything like that was in business. My goal was very much to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I did that.
Yeah.
You know, but I was so unfulfilled. I was so miserable, really. And then I knew I wanted to be on stage. I knew I wanted to speak. I knew I wanted to share my story of having a sick child, and use that to help other people, you know, in their lives, because so many people have said to me, you're such an inspiration. You hold it all together so well. And I was like, well, I can teach people about that. But I just didn't know. I didn't know how to do that. I didn't know how to market me. I didn't know how to market this thing that I was doing, because I really didn't understand. I could go and sell someone, you know, my cleaning services, or I could go and sell someone my event business services, but I was now having to sell myself. And I had such a poor personal story, or a poor view of myself, that was an inherited story. And that's, you know, a whole different thing that we can talk about at another time.
Podcast 2.0.
Yeah. But it was my self-talk was terrible. So here I was trying to tell people, hey, hire me to speak at your event. But hey, I don't actually think that highly of myself. So it was just, I was self-sabotaging myself without realizing I was. And it wasn't until I invested in myself and my own personal development that it started to click. So I was coaching. I was kind of, you know, doing dribs and drabs of stuff. I wouldn't say that I was really out there killing it. But once I did the work within myself, I was like, oh, light bulb. I know how to run amazing events. What I can do to sell myself as a speaker is I can run amazing events, and I can hire people who have a platform already, who have profiles already. I will hire them to speak on my stage. People will come to see them, but I'm just going to slot myself in there with them and go, hey, this is me. So I can leverage, right? And
brilliant.
And I thought that was an amazing idea. On the 14th of March this year, I launched an Australian-wide tour for my Choose You conference. And 4 days later, my business was closed. Thanks, COVID.
It's just the gift that keeps on giving.
And you know what? I built this, and I call it the monster now, because I built this monster of a business. I had team. I had an office. We were bringing in money, and then literally overnight, bam, like the government shut down things with COVID. I lost $30,000 overnight, and my business closed. And I was like, okay, I'm having a mini breakdown right now. Fuck.
Yeah, indeed.
Was one of the words.
Just one?
But it was, you know, I look now and I'm like, that was the best thing that happened, because after my little mini meltdown, a few things were highlighted to me. The first thing was, people who say they've got your back don't actually have it. Don't let people say they have your back. They need to prove that they have your back, because now I'm from Townsville. It's quite a, let's say, smallish town in terms of, you know, like your bigger metro areas. It's very much a small town. And people here, I would say that tall poppy syndrome is prevalent in Townsville. So the Townsville business community laughed at me, and they were like, oh, she failed. Oh, guys, did you see Aimee hair went broke? And there was rumors floating around. And I went, that says more about you than it does about me. So that's your stuff that you've got to deal with.
How disappointing.
Yes and no. Disappointing for them, because like I said, it says more about them than it does about me.
Yeah.
It was that light bulb. It was, well, you guys don't really have my back. I thought you did, but you don't. The people who had my back were, you know, my K2 family, my family that, you know, that are in that business group that I'm a part of. They had my back, and they were the ones that said to me, yeah, people like you guys had my back. And you're like, what support do you need? What can we do to help you? You guys not only talk the talk, but you walk the walk. And the people that I thought before had my back were only talking the talk, and it was all BS.
Actions speak louder than words.
Absolutely, 100%. My husband and I say that all the time with regards to our relationship. Actions speak louder than words. You can tell someone you love them, but you should never need to say the words. It should always be displayed. You should always feel it. That's another podcast too.
That's going to be the adults only version, just saying.
Yeah, that's
the kids to bed.
Yeah. But yeah, like I say, COVID was a blessing because it highlighted that to me. But the other thing that it showed me was I was shoveling shit uphill, and I was ignoring my intuition. I was ignoring my gut instinct the entire time. And as soon as I opened up to the universe, as soon as I opened up to what have you got for me, universe, it started to happen. And I was awakened to the power of energetic healing. And you know, part of my pivot, and I know that's been a buzzword and it kind of does my head in a little bit that we talk about this pivot thing, but my resurrection, I suppose, my phoenix rising from the ashes was, well, I can go back to coaching. But then I started to, because I was open to it, because I was open to the universe and what it had to deliver for me, Reiki came along my path. And I was like, I can do Reiki. I'm now a Reiki master. I was like, massage, like a energetic healing massage, chakra massage came up for me. I did a chakra massage course. I'm now doing a kahuna massage course. I'm now doing all these different modalities. I've signed up to or got into uni. I'm studying a psychology degree. With all
just
of
in
this
your
stuff,
spare time.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
But with other stuff happening, turned out that I have this psychic medium ability. So people that I was working with, stuff would come through, and I'm like, are you going through this? And they're like, oh my God, how did you know? And I was like, you know, I don't actually know how I know, I just know. And so I started to investigate that further, and I met with a mentor who's now coaching me in that realm. And we sat down for our first coaching session, and he was like, Aimee, people don't get this like you get it. He's like, you've got it. He's like, I work with people for months and they don't get it as quick as you've got it. And I was like, oh.
Fancy that.
Yeah. So I kind of did this 360, not even a 180. I kind of doubled over on myself and came full circle. And it, as soon as I opened up to the possibility of what if and show me what I'm supposed to be doing, I got thrown onto the path of exactly where I have supposed to have been the whole time.
I love that.
And it's been amazing. I have not had to really, I've not had to work. People are booking appointments with me. I'm booked 3 months in advance. People are rebooking, and every time someone comes and has either a coaching session with me or a healing session or a massage or a reading, they walk out and I feel energized.
Wow.
I feel fulfilled. It makes me feel so good to have someone who walks in, and I've not had one person yet who hasn't cried or who hasn't fallen asleep in a massage.
Oh, that'd be me.
But it has been beautiful and effortless, and it is just amazing how when you are on purpose, how things just happen. And it's very much that, Kerwin Ray says, income is a natural consequence of doing something that you love.
Preach.
The money doesn't even, and it's so true, the money doesn't matter. It's about what value I can provide to someone. It's not about how much money can I make. It's how much value, I can provide to someone.
Yeah, I love that. And I think, a lot of what we do in business comes down to that value that you can provide is the winning key to longevity in business as well. Because thankfully, consumers are so much smarter than they ever used to be. Not that they weren't smart before, but they have so much more knowledge at their fingertips that they're becoming really, really astute when it comes to seeing through poor sales tactics and dealing with people who really aren't there for their own, to deliver them the value that they're looking for, or for selfish purposes. And I think, like what you said about looking at a challenge with gratitude, what an amazing example of a challenge being met with utter gratitude, and to watch how you've turned your business around in a completely different way has been absolutely spellbinding. And for those listening, I had a session with Aimee where she did a reading on me, and literally I walked away speechless, which for me is pretty rare. It's not a thing that happens often. So I was pretty impressed. And, I always go into those things with a level of healthy skepticism. I'm open to them, most certainly, but, until I see those things for myself, I don't tend to just be a blind believer of those types of skills. And after our session not long ago, I was blown away. I was absolutely a 500% believer. I was very impressed. And as your mentor said, considering how quickly you have tuned in to those skills so quickly is a phenomenal trait or asset for you as well, because obviously that means that your customers feel that they're getting that additional value from you, which I love.
Yeah.
So if we were to kind of pack this up and give the wonderful people listening on some real tactical, meaty tips on how they could create and deliver a value-driven brand for themselves in their own businesses, what would be the few things that you would recommend they would implement or could give a crack?
So for me, it's never about the money. It's always about the value that you can provide to people. So, it's very much about choosing your words very wisely and not going in thinking I'm going to make a lot of money. It's I'm going to provide a lot of value. And like I said, that quoting Kerr and Ray, income is a natural consequence of doing something that you love and providing people with value. So it's always, you've got to come from that genuine place. Like you said, we've wisened up to the marketing tricks and to the sales tricks, and we're not going to be sold anymore. We want value. So you always need to come from a value perspective, and on that value that you can provide, making sure that the things that you're aligning yourself with are in line with your values. Yes. What are the things that you are passionate about? What are the things that are important to you? Because unless you're in line with your values, you're not going to love it. You're going to hate it, and it will be a job. And it should never be a job. It should always be a passion.
Yeah, absolutely.
I always say never sell yourself out for the upfront dollar. It will cost you in the long run. And
that's so true.
It comes back to aligning with your values, because people see, maybe what they perceive as an opportunity, and, they're, but I can make all this money and blah, blah, blah. But okay, let's take a step back. Let's not get greedy here. Let's think about the value. Does it align with our personal values? Yeah. Does it align with the values of our consumers, of our clients, of our the people that we're here to serve? And if it doesn't, then don't get all starry-eyed and think, oh my God, I'm going to make, $1 million in the next month. Because chances are, if it's not aligning with your purpose, with your mission, with your values, with the values of your consumers, then it is going to cost you and then some in the long run, and it is just not worth it.
Yeah.
And then the biggest thing for me now, having been through what I've been through, is always trust your instincts. Trust your intuition. Don't ignore it. Don't turn it off. If you get that little inkling, that is enough. That is enough for you to say, maybe I need to take another look at this, because I've been there where it's cost me, my event business cost my husband and I $200,000. And I walked away with not much. And it was because I kept ignoring my intuition. I kept, no, I can do this. I can do this. Watch me. I can do this. I was stubborn, and I very much learnt my lesson the hard way. But again, it's that challenge, that opportunity in the challenge. The opportunity now is I'm so tuned into my intuition. I'm so aware of what I'm investing, not only my time, but my money into. I'm not so much cautious as such, but I'm prepared. I'm strategic. I think things over properly. I go to my husband and say, hey, what do you think about this? I ask for input. I don't try and do it all on my own anymore.
Having a great sounding board is an absolute commodity.
Yeah. You just have to trust your gut.
Yeah.
Because you just end up in the shit if you don't.
So really. I'm curious, because I think that personally, and I'm getting better, but personally, I think that I also ignore my intuition far too often. For those who aren't quite sure if they're ignoring it, what does it, like when we say, listen to your intuition, what does that mean?
Have you ever said to yourself, why does this keep happening to me?
All the time.
Need I say anymore?
But so then what do I do?
If you're in that position where you're going, why does this always happen? Why isn't this working? Why do I keep hitting brick walls? Why do I keep hitting roadblocks? It's because the universe is trying to say to you, you shouldn't be doing this. And I keep trying to give you signs and you keep ignoring them, and you are just going to dig yourself a bigger hole.
Yeah.
To listen to your intuition is to stop. Just stop, Pay attention. Don't keep ignoring it. Pay attention to those things that keep going wrong. And if you kind of just go, well, I don't know what's going wrong, then keep a log, keep a diary, write the things down. What happened for me with my event business? It was, well, the coronavirus thing happened. I couldn't get any merchandise from China. Our venue cancelled. Our speaker was drink driving with a kid in the car. Like all these things were happening.
Not mentioning any names. Yep.
All these things were happening that were just negative things. It was a roadblock. It was a roadblock. It was a roadblock. Yeah. And I was like, oh, well, we'll deal with it. I've got this, blah, 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 blah. Not once. So since Corona shut that down and I've done my pivot, not once has anything come up within this new business, this new way of operating. Now, my purpose has never changed. I should probably mention that. My purpose has always been the same. It's the way I deliver the purpose that's changed.
Right.
There has not been one roadblock. None.
Wow.
Nothing. It's been effortless. And that is how I know that I'm on purpose. That is how I know that I'm listening to my intuition. And I take time now. I stop. If you know how they say, if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. Yes. I have situations where I'm like, it's a hell yes. But then I have things that I'm like, I don't know. And I need to think about it. And most of the time it's a hell no. I also have another thing. Now, this is probably way out woo-woo. And if you've got like kind of, straight, narrow business people, they're going to go, she's loopy.
Well,
but it works.
If we have straight out business people, open your mind up and give it a go.
Open up and talk to me if you don't know how to. But I have this, my universal sign is a butterfly. I feel like I am a butterfly. I've gone from this cocoon of, being what I was. And then I went through this horrendous experience that kind of broke me out and gave me my wings. When I'm supposed to do something or when I'm questioning whether I do it or not, I ask the universe for my sign. I ask for butterflies. Now I'll let you know, because by the time this comes out, I should be well into the mix of doing this. I've been looking at purchasing a building. Oh. Now I had a look at it to operate out of, because at the moment I'm operating out of home and it's just not conducive at all. I went and had a look at one place last week, and from the outside it was perfect. This place was just everything. And I said, well, I'm leaving it up to the universe. If I see a butterfly, now it can be a live butterfly, it can be a picture, it can be, a fake, whatever. There were no butterflies, but there was birds everywhere. And I was like, okay, that's really strange. Energetically, that was very strange. Like they had pillows of birds and pictures of birds and all this sort of stuff. And I was like, interesting. Then I went to my husband and I was like, look, it looks perfect from the outside, but there's something. Like there's got to be something because I haven't seen a butterfly. 2 days later, I went and had a look at another house. And I said to my kids came with me and I was like, all right, we've got to look for a butterfly. And they're like going through looking for a butterfly somewhere. And I was just about to walk out. And I'm like, well, I haven't seen the butterfly, so I don't have that universal sign that, it's supposed to be. And I walked out the back with my son and I turned around and I went, I said, do you see that? He's gone, oh, Mummy, it's butterflies. Jackson, we found a butterfly.
Oh my God. I love it.
Yeah. So I rang my husband and I was like, you've got to come and have a look at this place. We've seen a butterfly, and he knows my new stuff.
He's open to it.
Yeah. And honestly, this place is very, very much set out for what I want to do. So, it's being open to those sort of things and really just trusting that we've been put here for a purpose. And if we keep ignoring what that purpose is, in my opinion, our lives are not going to ever be fulfilled. It's not going to be much fun. I'm so sorry. It's not going to be much fun. Hopefully they can cut that bit out. I believe that we're here for
it's live, baby. This is the human experience right here.
More podcasts.
This is business.
Yes, this is business. But yeah, I believe that if we're not,
That's the universe saying, pick up, bitch.
honestly, don't call me again. I'm like, bleh.
Yeah.
I really believe if we keep ignoring it, that life isn't going to be much fun. And we have depression, and I think depression in itself is a whole other thing. But I think that so many people end up depressed because they keep ignoring the signs that get thrown to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've basically just let myself be guided, really.
Yeah. And I think that's a really good point that you make around listening to your intuition starts with actually stopping.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of us in business are very bad at doing, is stopping and reflecting and debriefing our actions and the outcomes. And in future podcasts, we're going to talk more about debriefing and whatnot. But I think that's a wonderful few points that all of us could put into play straight away as far as how do we tactically become a value-driven brand. Before I let you go, Aimee, I want to get the down low on these retreats. What am I up for? What am I looking into? How do I get involved?
So they're going to be lots of fun. So I've got my singles retreat happening first, and then my ladies retreat. It's Friday to Sunday on Magnetic Island. We have this beautiful house that we rent out. I do all of the cooking, or some of the food we get in, but I do all of the preparing and everything. Basically, people come, and it's just that opportunity to find out, how do you listen to your intuition? It's that opportunity to open up the doors to discovering who you are, and maybe why things aren't going so great in your life. How you stop ignoring the universe, how you stop ignoring your intuition. We go over, breathing techniques. I touch on I've got a little bit of experience with some Tantra stuff. So we talk about tantric breathing. Yeah, we go into that. But it's very much, they're called Recreate Your Life. So it's, for so many people, we get so stuck, and it's giving people that opportunity to turn their lives around, and to have someone, with myself facilitating it, that I actually care. I actually care what people experience when they're with me. It's not about the bottom dollar for me. It's about the value. It's about, I want to actually help people change their lives.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very much, if you come along to the retreat, you'll learn some things about yourself. You'll learn some things about other people, and appreciating people for their individualities, and not just, we get so caught in this, well, you're wrong and I'm right. And it's not that someone might be wrong. It's that it's different. It's not wrong. It's just different. And it's being able to accept people for their differences and their individual traits.
I love that.
And relaxation and pampering.
Yeah, that too. I love that even more. Woo! So if you are interested in getting in touch with Aimee, you can most certainly do that via her website, which is
aimeehair.com.au.
And that is aimeehair.com.au. Aimee, you are, as always, an absolute treasure and a delight. Thank you for popping my podcasting cherry again.
My pleasure.
She was my very first guest when I started podcasting on Twitch. And again, my very first guest for the Value Driven brand. It is my privilege to have the opportunity to speak to you on behalf of the listeners. And when this goes live, thank you. I value you.
I value you. Thank you so much for having me. I love that I get to be your first guest.
Thank you. And till then, we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening to the Value Driven Brand Podcast with your host, Aileen Day.
Is your business struggling to become known as the sought-after leader in your industry? Access our value-driven brand quiz and special 3-part podcast series to identify the gaps and what you need to focus on first. Go to www.valuedrivenbrand.com/podcast series. That's valuedrivenbrand.com/podcast series. Tune in next time where we discuss more ideas on how you can deliver your own value-driven brand.